Research is the single most important element in improving every sphere of life, be it the discovery of vaccines, the manufacture of airplanes, or the production of the television. Research and development is paramount. This is NAPTIP on the Move, and I am Imanalo KK. Very glad to have you join us. Ever wondered about the history of human trafficking? Where did it all begin? The reasons behind it and evolving trends with time? Think no further, as today's episode will enlighten you. So stay with NAPTIP on the Move.
The purpose of research is to produce new knowledge or deepen understanding of a topic or issue. Constructive research tests theories and proposes solutions to a problem, while empirical research tests the feasibility of a solution using empirical evidence. In a bid to understand and proffer solutions to human trafficking, the Research and Programs Development Directorate of NAPTIP was established.
The Research and Program Development Department, as the name implies, handles the research function of the agency, because one of the statutory functions of NAPTIP is to research into the root causes of human trafficking, and also to look at the trends, magnitudes, and identify endemic states. So the research function of this department is to feed other departments who are programming for public enlightenment, for victim support, for investigation, with actionable data and information that will enable us sharpen our messages and also respond effectively to trends in trafficking. On the other side is program development. We handle the programming function of the agency, in the sense that we come up with ideas for programs. We also contribute to policy development, and in charge of packaging the annual plans and the strategic plans and the other plans of the agency, in order to provide a policy platform and support the DG to shape her vision and also to interpret her vision so that other departments and the rest of the agency can act in harmony.
Customarily, raising wards was not a crime until it took a turn for the worse.
It started as a fostering kind of thing. Okay, take your neighbor or your brother or sisters or cousin's daughter or son into your house. When it started, of course, it was not harmful. You went to school with your cousins if you're living in their house, the same school, ate the same food, wore the same clothes at Christmas or festival times. So it was okay. But over time, the issue of commercialism and mercantilism began to creep in, and so people began to use it as a profit-making venture. But even at that time, people didn't see it as anything until we began to see tales of horror, of torture and human treatment, especially the issue of discrimination against such assets. People have adduced several reasons. Some talk about poverty, yes. When human trafficking started in the 70s or 80s in Nigeria, Nigeria's economy was not that bad. So you couldn't say that it was, strictly speaking, poverty. Even today, as bad as we think our economy is, Nigeria is still a destination country for so many other countries, other parts of Africa, even other parts of the world come to Nigeria, and they are trafficked to Nigeria because there are things to get in Nigeria. So we know that right now, the main causes of trafficking as we see it is one, ignorance on the part of those who are trafficked. On the part of the traffickers, it is pure greed because the profit margin is quite large. Yes, things could be better, but we also know that your reaction to adversity depends on your character and your values. And there are many women out there who strap their babies on their back and then they go to the market and do head loading all day in order to feed their children. Some go to farm in order to feed their children. Some go and work as laborers and all that. But some others decide that the best way to do is maybe go and stay in a brothel and make money with their body. So it depends on values. And there's some of the states that you have a lot of trafficking, even though all states are affected in one way or the other, but more in some states than others, are not the poorest states. So really, I believe that ignorance and greed are the major driving factors.
Human trafficking trends have also evolved with time.
Initially, it was a fun thing. Became like, oh, that's the in thing to do because people are traveling abroad, for example, and then they have come back to build houses. Nobody knew what they were really doing. That initial time, the pressure was they were going to work in tomato plantations, and then some are going to do hairdressing, some are into fashion, and so the impression was that was what they were doing. There was a palpable ignorance as to what was really going on in that place. And so it was, the trend there was, they could just call, madams would come over at Christmas, Easter, oh, what's your daughter doing? Let her follow me. Or people even go to them and say, can my daughter follow you to go and help you what you're doing? Some people will come and say they wanted people to help them as domestic servants. So it started like that, and so it soon became like a cultural thing.
Some trafficked victims were first smuggled migrants.
If you look at the recent upsurge of irregular migrants, especially from Libya, I must say that many of them started out as smuggled migrants, not trafficked victims. They sought out people to take them abroad. They paid. And so by the time they go through Niger and get to Libya, you're already talking about 3 months down the line, they have run out of money. And so they get stranded in places like Niger, Libya, Mali, Burkina Faso. And what happens if you run out of money? You are at the mercy of others, and that is how they now become traffic victims, because you have slavery and all those kind of practices. So you find that the way you see them coming back in these large numbers, not all of them started out as victims of trafficking. They were smuggled, many of them on their own volition. But unfortunately, they got trapped into trafficking and slavery.
The ugly trend of organ harvesting is one of the dangers of human trafficking.
Most traffic victims use false passports or fake passports, and even when they use their own passports, as soon as they arrive at the destination, the passports are seized, and many of them that are taken through the desert road, they don't have any documentation, so they arrive in Europe, they seek asylum, and from asylum centers, they are smuggled out into Europe, and they become exploited. So many of them could die, and nobody would know what killed them. And so the organs could be harvested for various reasons. All you see is just an anonymous body. Remember the show of Boy Adam in those days that was found in UK, a headless body that was eventually traced to Nigeria. That could happen with the girls. They could actually throw their bodies into the river, eaten by fishes. Nobody will know because you are not documented. So organ harvesting has been going on, especially in Europe, for medicinal reasons. Now internally, you have organ harvesting too, but we call it ritual killing. So organ harvesting is a real concern, both internally and internationally.
Collaboration with national and international organizations and security agencies enhances the fight against this transnational crime.
This department, incidentally, is also in charge of coordination function of the agency, and the act establishing NAPT specifically mandates the agency to collaborate with other organizations, both governmental and non-governmental international agencies. And that's why the agency was actually made small but smart. If you look at the size of the mandate of the agency, if you look at what this is expected to accomplish, then You look at the workforce, it looks small. But because of our corporate collaboration with other agencies, we are everywhere. Locally, we collaborate with all law enforcement agencies, the police, the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Service, Nigerian Customs, Federal Road Safety Commission, the DIA, NIA, DSS. We collaborate with them because they are our eyes and ears where we cannot be. So wherever you see any officer of the law in Nigeria, you actually metaphorically see a NAPTIP officer. On the other side, we also collaborate with ministries, mainline ministries, Ministry of Women Affairs, of course, Ministry of Justice, Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, especially, and youth. And we collaborate across board because that is our mandate. And then with the civil society, of course, those are our big collaborators. In terms of sheltering, for example, many of our victims, after they have been counseled in our shelters, need further support, and we believe that such can be better done maybe in an open shelter. So we have shelters that are run by faith-based organizations and some NGOs, and they help us take care of them. From there, they go to school, they learn skills and all that. And internationally too, all the UN agencies, the embassies, and the international law enforcement agencies, Interpol, Europol of recent, and all others, the US intelligence agencies, they have been working very closely with NAPTIP since inception. And so NAPTIP is a child of fortune because we have so many people that are ready to support us. Otherwise, we will not be able to realize our mandate. And I must say also, the government, the federal government itself, gives us the muscle, the political will, and the policy and the legislative framework that has allowed NAPTIP to become a model agency globally.
The head of research and program development, Godwin Morcar, shared some data on the rescued victims and the number of convictions so far.
Because data keeps evolving, I would say that for now we have rescued more than 12,000 victims of trafficking since inception. And in one way or the other, we have rehabilitated them because all of them go through our counseling. Not everyone needs the same level of support. Some easily go back home, maybe after 2 or 3 days or 1 week. Some stay for 6 weeks, some stay for longer. Depends on the need and identified needs through the counseling process. So we have supported many of them. Then others have been empowered. I must say that yes, NAPTIP has empowered close to 3,000 victims. There are others that are still awaiting empowerment. That's why we keep asking for support. Then in terms of arrests and convictions, our convictions stands about 337. And sometimes we'll say, why so low? But I tell you, it is quite high. If you know how long it takes to take a case through the judicial system, then you know, because we have cases that have run for 6 years, and then you have cases that have been on since 2005, 2006. We've gone through the High Courts, eventually they've gone through the Appeal Court, some are the Supreme Court, before you eventually have a final verdict. And we have so many cases in court that are nearing determination.
He also highlighted the age range and educational status of the victims.
Generally speaking, before now, the age range of those trafficked abroad was between 17 and 25. I mean, we could have some below, some above. Then those trafficked within Nigeria for domestic labor and also for sexual exploitation will range sometimes from 6 years to about 17 years. So that has been the range. But of recent, we have seen an increase in number of younger people trafficked abroad, as people as young as 14 trafficked abroad. So there's a little bit of shift downward. Most of them are primary school leavers, and quite a lot drop out from junior secondary. But we have an increasing trend of secondary school leavers and even undergraduates and some graduates that fall for these traffickers.
An annual report to track the progress of the agency is submitted yearly.
We do our annual reports every year. Statutorily, we are supposed to make reports of of our activities every year to the National Assembly by the 30th of September. So we do that every year. The year that has just passed is almost ready.
All hands must be on deck for human trafficking to be eradicated.
For us in NAPTIP, what makes us happy and proud is when you see somebody who was rescued from a very dismal situation, maybe from a brothel or from an abusive situation under trafficking, and then you see them become good people. That is what gives us joy. Human trafficking is a degradation of our nation. It's a national risk. It's a risk to human security and national security. If you have young people who are trafficked on a regular basis, and many of them die, that is a huge loss to our nation, potentially. So we need everybody not just to watch NAPTIP on the TV, but also to tell people they should go to their churches and just take up that mantle. Go to the mosque, do the same thing. Go to the school, do the same thing. In your market places, say the same thing. When you meet as women, as men, as youth, let somebody stand up and talk about human trafficking so that this story will keep resounding. We need to get that story to the grassroots and let it resound from the grassroots upward.
The need for research and program development in the fight against human trafficking cannot be overemphasized, as all the agency's strategies, activities and operations emanate from its findings.
Human trafficking is one of the worst crimes on earth. It is a grave violation of your human rights. The victims of human trafficking are majorly women, youths, children and men who may never live to tell the story. These victims could be your wife, daughter, mother, sister, brother, child or relative. No one deserves to be trafficked. NAPTIP has intensified its effort against this heinous crime. But we need your support. We need you to join this fight. Government officials, corporate organizations, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and the organized private sector have enlisted in this fight. What are you waiting for? Join NAPTIP to end this global moral epidemic now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these NAPTIP hotlines: 0703 00 203, 080 02 255 627847. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you.
Please keep the discussion on human trafficking going. It is the only way to save a potential victim. Help NAPTIP serve you better. For your comments, suggestions, and to report cases of human trafficking, please call the numbers on the screen. It is time for NAPTIP events. Do not go away. The Director General of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, Dr. Diko Umar Rada, and his team recently paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Judy Okadonni.
We have over 37 million MSMEs in the country, and out of the 37 million MSMEs that we have in the country, largely about 99% are micro enterprises. It contributes about 48.47% to the GDP nominal. It also employs about 84.7% of Nigerians. And our agency is an apex agency in charge of the MSMEs in the country. So hence the need for us to collaborate with our sister agencies in the federal government, state and local government to make sure that we are able to meet our mandate.
Having highlighted the role of the micro, small and medium enterprises in the nation's economy, he then stated the purpose of the visit.
The purpose of the courtesy visit is to solicit for the partnership towards building the capacity of the rescue victims of trafficking as a means of providing sustainable livelihood that will facilitate economic and financial self-reliance through entrepreneurship development of these victims. Some of the areas of intervention that we are thinking of is in the area of sensitization, need assessment of the victims, provision of vocational entrepreneurship training, facilitating to market linkages via SMEDEN online platform, monitoring and counseling advisory services via business clinic and sessions to the victims and then also provision of monitoring and evaluation of the impact assessment on the rendering of the business development support services (BDS) to the victims.
Welcoming Dr. Rada and his team, Dame Julie Okadonli stressed the need for partnership.
It's very important for us to collaborate and cooperate together because, I think we have a lot in common. A lot in common in the sense that we have so many rescue victims that need to be empowered to become very useful to the society before they are reintegrated.
She then briefed the team on some of the agency's efforts.
If we can create enough awareness, 80% of the job is done. Because most of these trafficked victims are very ignorant people. And so we've embarked on a massive awareness campaign where we expect everyone to be involved, including yourselves, to come together, work with us, partner with us, to carry out massive awareness campaigns in the rural communities. So of course the sensitization is there, the skill acquisition is there. Some of them actually want to go back to school. We have graduates, to the glory of God, and right now we still have some in the university. We have undergraduates, we have those in the secondary school, those in the primary school, and active sponsors all through. So we're also looking at areas like that.
Having exchanged ideas on possible areas of partnership, the two agencies agreed to sign a memorandum of understanding to enhance their collaboration. Concluding the visit, the DG of Sweden had a word of advice for human traffickers.
I'm calling on all human traffickers to stop this ugly event which leads to the destruction of life and human resources of our nation.
The proposed memorandum of understanding between the two agencies will ensure effective empowerment of rescued victims. This synergy is key in eradicating human trafficking. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, recently secured another conviction. One miracle eater, a 27-year-old prostitute and a mother of two from Akwa Ibom State, was recently sentenced to 2 years imprisonment with an additional fine of 250,000 naira by the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos for trafficking a 16-year-old girl and subjecting her to forced prostitution at Okon Brothel in Ajah, Lagos State. The chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Buhari branch, Mohammed Sav, and his team recently paid a courtesy call to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadonli. Speaking on the purpose of the visit, Mohammed Sav highlighted the need for partnership.
Our society of today, there's a lot of violence being going on. So it is not just a matter of regulating the trafficking of people, but also the issue of enlightening people on violence and the abuse of human beings. Now, some of us do not know or are aware of what your regulatory powers are, and that is why we have come to partner with you. We want to be spearheading the FCT so that other branches will take up the matter and also go on an enlightening program in their various jurisdictions.
Oladapo Olalekon, who is in charge of continuing legal education, spoke on the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act.
What bothers us much is this FAP Act 2015. So we know that it's a new act. It was just promulgated 2015, but many of my colleagues do not know. So we want to start from there by creating awareness about this act among lawyers, because we are stakeholders.
Welcoming the Nigerian Bar Association team, Dame Julie Okadonli emphasized the need for all stakeholders to partner with NAPTIP.
Trafficking generally is not something for just the federal government. It's something that involves everyone, all of government and all of society, NBA inclusive, because I know the power of NBA. When you lend your voice to something, I know how impactful and powerful it can be. So I think it will be a very good thing for NBA and NAPTIP to partner and to be seen to be partners in the fight against human trafficking and violence against persons.
She also assured the team that the agency will partner with the Buhari branch of the Nigerian Bar Association. The courtesy visit and the proposed collaboration between NAPTIP and the Nigerian Bar Association will further enhance the activities of the agency.
For more enquiries and support or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotlines on 0703 0000203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
I hope you were enlightened. NAPTIP on the Move promises to keep you informed on issues of human trafficking, so join us again next week. I am Imanala Okeke and I must thank you for watching.